Right. And they can only really persecute you and do what they do
if I give them consent to.
Yeah, right.
Or if I acknowledge or fall under their Western system. And I just tell them, no, I stand on sovereign law.
Yeah.
And as you've witnessed and many others have witnessed right throughout, and while I'm on that, I just like to thank and give them, send my love and vibration out to all of those brothers and sisters that came to the courts, stood beside us and stood beside me in this journey, and there's one particular brother out there who got locked up, for coming to the courts and standing. And I'm talking about a white fella. I'm talking about a Whanjulla, Westerner. I'm not talking about a black fella. I'm talking about a,
Migaloo.
You could say so many things. We call them so many things, but I try to change the rhetoric and the language, which is why I say Westerner, because that's a Western law. And we are here in the land of the East where the first sunrise, know. So, changing the language and all of that, but it was like that. So, black fella, white fella standing together, and a lot of brothers and sisters that are in the common law crew are now coming to start to understand all of this stuff, and they're supporting me within the, and it's good. Like, it's good because then you got two courts. You got two courts of law sitting in the same room against this other court of law that is running illegal business. That's a corporate law. There's a common law and there's a tribal law standing there. And tribal law and common law standing together, bearing witness against this false law system. It's a good thing.
Yeah.
And this is what our old people were talking about, I believe. It's about us moving together, and understanding, coming back to common ground, working out, telling the truth in all of the history and everything, because that is why we are right here, sitting now, here, right at this space, talking and having this conversation about all of this. My people aren't actually tied to these documents because we never consented, whereas Westerners, unfortunately, their forefathers had signed their rights out. So we're trying to look at how we can actually navigate the different tiers of laws that have, or the different waves that have come over the times that have shifted the sands on this land. Our old people knew about these waves that were coming. The three waves have come now: the Admiralty, the Common, and the Corporate. Three laws hit this coastline and dislodged everything. Now it's time to allow the waters to settle and recede back and put everything back into its place. And that's what I've been telling the judge all the time. We're here to finish what Mabo started. That job is not, the conversation has not finished. You weren't talking to the right people. We're about to open up that pathway and the council grounds so that you can have the right people to talk to. It's been a long journey.
Yeah.
Emotional roller coaster ride, physically, mentally, spiritually. And this is why, like now, I need to turn that around in writing and put in through their appeal process, but serve them with all the documents that support the freedom of humanity, including the United Nations Declarations of Indigenous Rights, including common laws documents, including the Velvet Revolution statement, as well as other statements that we will be very soon coming together as the many nations, tribes, clans, tribes, and nations of this great Southlands at the 50th anniversary of the Tent Embassy in Canberra. We are all gathering down there to have a big discussion about the future. We know what has happened in the past. It's time now we think about what is going to happen in the future, because that is up to us.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So, I just wanted to say a few words. So, like, when I was in court with Whanjalla, the times that I was there, able to make it and go check it out. Yeah, it was just evident to me that our court systems, or at least in my experience with Whanjalla, I could tell that the judges and the police and other people there weren't actually there to get justice. It was more so there just to cover their own backs, kind of thing. That no, Whanjalla was there. I remember you were saying, like, you know, you don't have a personal vendetta against any one cop or judge or anyone. You're there to work with people to move forward together with people. You said words to that effect, I remember. And yeah, it was just disappointing to see that lack of understanding on the other side of the fence from the judges, because that's what, you know, most people think the court's for is to, well, you know, some people think the court's for is for justice, you know, and it was evident that that wasn't the case.
Wow. You know, like, when I walked into there, it was like I was guilty.
That's right, eh?
And I had to prove my innocence.
Yeah. That's the vibe
Like,
you got.
But that's not the court of law, eh? Aren't you innocent until proven guilty?
Supposedly.
Supposedly, eh? But that's not the way I was treated. You've seen that.
Yeah.
You know, to the point where they wouldn't even allow my own witnesses.
Yeah, we got kept held out on numerous occasions.
Numerous occasions,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I'm representing myself here. I need witnesses, you know? I'm representing Whanjulla Imballa because you're dragging me around with my entity attached to an image my image attached to an entity that I know nothing about and I never consented to. And I do not. Yes, there are privileges that come with that, but I don't even delve into it. You know what I mean? I haven't used the health services for over 20 years because I just don't. I believe in the Creator. I believe in the law of the land and the vibration of this land. With me one in unison with it, it can heal me, and it has. For the last 20 years, I have not been to the doctors at all. I will not allow someone to put something foreign into my body or prophesy over my life and create a vibration over me that will bring me down. There is no way that is going to happen. I believe in the Creator and the laws of this land, and that's what heals me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and like just after seeing all this, it was just disappointing to see that the courts he felt guilty until proven innocent kind of thing.
It was a struggle to walk in there every day because they.
Yeah, and it's just like we want to move more towards, like you mentioned before, this common law group that is moving with you now.
Yeah.
So we'll have, like, you know, common law set up with sovereign law, and they'll kind of work together in the future in some way. And yeah, it was just crazy to see how the police persecution of Whanjalla kind of goes against, in my opinion, the like religious freedoms that we're meant to supposedly have, and as well as like the allowing of people to practice their own culture here. It was crazy, but yeah. Do you want to? Yeah. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, crazy, really big roller coaster ride. But hey, you know, here we are on the other end, and I think, you know, it. I think it was all, well, of course, it was all meant to be. The whole emotional roller coaster, learning how to harness the energy and direct it in the right way to the right people, but most importantly was to get those precedents set inside the courts, where they're starting to acknowledge who I am as Whanjalla. One of the judges referred to as Whanjalla, referred to me as Whanjalla. What else? There was...
Yeah, so this was the last judge, right? And she was actually the most lenient or sympathetic.
Yeah, well, she was a female as well, you know. In a patriarchal world. But even with that, like, you know, charges were laid by the police, charges were removed by the judge. Yeah, charges were, so they were delayed by, removed by the judge. And, there was just a whole, there was a public nuisance, and now there's not.
Yep.
there was a failed to appear, now there's not.
Yeah, okay. So there was a whole stack of things that were happening and they kind of went back on their word and whatnot.
Yeah,
So,
it was like they kept back moving and defaulting on their own decisions as well.
so what was the final decision of all this? Because you
So-
mentioned you're going to put forth this.
Yeah, so this morning, after the whole ordeal, right throughout the whole year and a half,
Yeah.
this morning, they convicted me with that entity, not me, with 100. Oh, sorry. Month suspended sentence for one charge. Another charge was 3 months suspended sentence, with a good behavior bond of 9 months.
Right.
So
But in that time, it's giving you time now to get this letter together to serve
I'm
them.
going to serve this letter within along with the evidence and documentation within the next week. That's going to be served into the courts, knowing that they are on holidays at the moment as well. So,
Mm.
I'm going to serve this in with requesting they bring forth the evidence on how they actually have jurisdiction over me as an original person of the land.
Yeah.
As original man of the land here, and then we'll move on from there. If they can't prove that they actually have, I'm going to give them a certain amount of time to respond, as they do within the Western system. And if they don't respond by that time, then I'm going to assume that my sovereignty still remains, and I'm going to counteract by placing charges on everybody, every arresting officer, every judge that's passed judgment upon me, as well as any witnesses that have bear false witness against me as Whanjulla Imballa Bogabala Biyagamari.
Mm.
So it's the start of the next process of actually, okay, I've stood there like that for the whole year. I mean, the main thing is that I actually serve them with information, and the information of me, like I said when I walked into the first courtroom and the first court case, is I contest all charges, and that will be the main message within the thing, is that until you can prove your jurisdiction over me and my people, I'm contesting all charges, and I want all charges to be removed, and I'm also seeking restitution and reparations for the damages caused, and just letting them know that I've made in my sovereign business $5,000 within 5 minutes of setting up business on a Sunday market, and they have hindered me for the last year and a half, 18 months.
Yep.
And they're gonna have to pay for hindering in my sovereign business.
Yep. And just to kind of wrap things up a little bit, if people want to support you in your journey at the moment, is there in any way, shape or form, is there any platform or any meeting place that you have going at the moment that you'd like people to come and sit with you or message you on? Is there anything like that happening at the moment?
Well, I'm in the process, as I mentioned before. I'm the spokesperson and representative of our Cummings Wutta clan of the Borkoman people, also a founding member of the of Borkoman sovereignty, as well as the male representative of Mirrabooka Sovereign United Nations. And so it is. What I've been doing recently is organising a convoy to Canberra. And the convoy to Canberra is to coincide with the 50th anniversary of the Aboriginal Tent Embassy that was set up on the steps of the old Parliament House 50 years ago. There's been a call out for a national gathering, and so So we're now creating this pathway through cultural customary practices where the women step forth, offer up their country to come through, and the men travel and pass us through the country with the blessings of the elders and things like that. So through customary practices, we're resurfacing the original laws to bring them back on. We have set up a few pages on Facebook. Facebook, there is the Convoy to Canberra, the Voice of the North.
Mm-hmm.
is one of the is a page. That's a private page where we're going to share all of our information and things like that. But there's a group discussion page called the Round Table. We just called it the Round Table because this is our table, and we have never been invited to this table. So we've gone and put a round table up in the cyberspace, in the cyber world, and that's just for friendly, peaceful, respectful discussions around any issue within this continent, this landmass of Australia. Because like that, I've told everybody else, and just like it is, sovereign business is everybody's business. And we're actually in the shambles where we are in the state of affairs of this country because our sovereignty has never been ceded. And that's the next conversation that needs to be had in this country.
And what do you like to say? Don't walk about sovereignty? Oh, no, don't talk about sovereignty.
Walk about sovereignty. And I live, breathe it. You know, I live, breathe it, my brother. Yeah. Every day, every night, you know. When I close my eyes, I'm talking to them old people, walking back into the dreaming, you know.
Yeah.
People freak out when I start to tell them the stories that I lived, and they say, the dreaming's living with you because of the stories and what I tell them, what I share with them, you know, and you know, like that. I come here, have very, very cloudy and misty and everything that the air was here, you know, and as soon as I sit down here and I sing the country, it starts to clear. You can see the defined line, you know. Country starts to show itself and reveal itself. It's like, yes, that the song has just made me beautiful and replenished, and I'm going to show that, you know. And this is what I mean. And when I'm coming up to the rallies and things like that with vibration and sound and holding space, you know. Some people think that I'm playing in witchcraft and things like that, you know, and it's like, oh, well, you still got a lot to learn, you know. Yeah.
Cool.
When you know how to harness the energy of Mother and work with Mother as one, then if you call it witchcraft, then so be it, you know. But I can tell you now that nobody has ever left any site and lost their life after I've held a ceremony or held space or anything like that. Nobody gets hurt. So I must be doing something good then.
I think so. Cool. Well, there you have it, folks. We'll wrap that up then. We'll leave those links in the description in one form or another for you to check out. If you want to reach out to Whanjalla and help out with his convoy to Canberra or other sovereign business that he's got going on. But thanks for your time, Whanjalla.
Oh, you can,
Yep.
Yeah, add me on Facebook too. Don't matter.
All right. My name's Oliver Jesshope, and that does us for today. See you later.
Peace.
Yeah, what's your submission on penalty, please?
Just for that's hearing, and you've got the history before you, given the number of public nuisances and other similar offences.
Well, yes, I'll pause there for a moment. Sorry, I'm interrupting you, this was bad. These offences took place on the 27th of August. And he's committed further. He committed one on the 4th of March, willful damage 4th of March. Alright, so this is the latest, isn't it?
Of the willful damages, I believe the matters that were dealt with on the 15th of December would post-date these matters.
Oh, well, only one of them. One is the 19th of February 2021.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ultimately, my submission on these matters, Your Honour, is that it's the number of matters before the court previously. The penalties imposed haven't offered specific deterrent to Mr. Cummings. Now go back over it. On my submission, the short-term imprisonment is the only
What happened on the 15th of December in the magistrate?
There was two matters that were listed in Carolina Magistrate. There was discussions. It ended up being a plea in relation to those matters after discussions with the Carolina Magistrate.
Okay, Mr. Thomas, speak again. All right, Mr. Cummins, the prosecutor is asking for a short term of suspended jail time for you, so you won't go to jail. That's what they're asking for. It's your opportunity to make your own suggestions on penalty.
As I've stated right throughout the courts, I must introduce myself. I am Whanjulla Imballa.
Yes.
Just hear me out for a second. I am the representative of the Southern Organisation. I am also the original spokesperson of my families.
Yeah.
Okay. As I've stated right throughout this, please, we need to continue and we need to move forward in this discussion. This is a national discussion that we're having, and it's not a personal issue for me. I am the representative of my people and being persecuted under my cultural laws and practices.
Yes, well, Mr. Cummins, you have submitted yourself to this jurisdiction.
Okay. I have came in here and I stood under my sovereign capacity, and you have not even acknowledged or accepted me as Whanjulla Imballa.
I regard you as a fellow
man of the land. You passed on a judgment after I walked out because you did not respect I was in the presence.
You did not respect the court, Mr. Cummins.
I have. Every time you have summoned me here, I have come. That failed to appear that was put onto there was actually because the judge also done the same thing, got up and walked out and resumed. The same thing what you're doing now, and I'm dealing with this situation again.
Mr. Cummins, you're speaking to a lowly magistrate. Your discussion that you want to have is to be had at a higher level.
And that is exactly what is happening.
And I'm here just to administer the laws as I'm sworn to do. That's what I'm doing.
And as I have stated throughout the process, please pass your judgments, for you shall be judged.
Yes, that's exactly right. Now, I need to pass a sentence like Magistrate Baldwin on the 15th passed sentence on you, and she gave you community service.
And she promised that I would not be placed in prison because of the job that I have.
No. She didn't put you, she gave you community service, which you have no intention of doing. Because you were given 100.
No, that's not what, he wasn't in the room to actually know.
Well, Mr. Cummins, you were given 120 hours of community service.
And I'm waiting till this whole process is finished. It's quite stressful.
Okay.
I have been dealing with this for a year and a half. I am an independent man.
If you can make a suggestion to me, the prosecution says that I should sentence you to a term of imprisonment and suspense. So you won't go to jail, you won't even have to sign anything. Just not commit further offences for a period of time.
As I've stated before, if me being Whanjulla Imballa practicing my cultural ways becomes a public nuisance, then I cannot promise that I'm not going to be a public nuisance. So you pass whatever judgment you like, because like I said, you shall be judged on the judgment. I carry the law of this land that are connected to the stars. Right from the beginning, and we have never ever ceded our sovereign rights for you to pass judgment upon me and my people. Our colonial titles still stand internationally and galactically.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Oh, yes, he
Oh, no, I'm not talking to him. I'm talking to the representative of the corporation that has been persecuting me for my cultural practice.
Take into account all the matters that have been placed before me, including the criminal record of the defendant, which shows there have been a number of public nuisances that are growing in number at a slightly alarming rate. The defendant has been found guilty of 2 offences, and there's an offence of failing to appear, for which I fine them $100 and report of conviction. But in terms of sentence, I don't think that I can use okay, I withdraw that. Thank you. With in respect of these charges, fines are simply inappropriate in my view. That has been tried, and no amount has been paid by Mr. Cummings at all in his lifetime in terms of fines. He has apparently intention of doing that. I have been advised by the probation office, but this is on an informal level, and it's not before the court, that Mr. Cummings hasn't performed his community service. So obviously, it's not a threat.
Excuse me,
I think I'm talking.
can I just, actually, I have come to this,
I sentence you to 1 month's imprisonment in respect of willful exposure and 3 months imprisonment in respect of damage. Those terms are concurrent with each other. That's a total of 3 months imprisonment, wholly suspended for operational period of 9 months. If you commit a further offence in the next 9 months, you may have to spend all or part of the 3 months imprisonment that's hanging over your head. I have considered all sentencing options. I think no other sentencing option is reasonably available to me. Thank you. I have a lot of other matters that I have to do, Mr. Cummings. Thank you.
Whanjulla Imballa, served